Welcome to the Never Gets Old podcast, the home for all you love in TV, movies, music, and comics, with your hosts, Nathan Shell and Mac Jackson. Look for us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Hi, and welcome to the Never Gets Old podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Shell.
And I'm Mac Jackson. So we're just catching up before we get talking about comics, which I think will probably be the meat of our conversation today. But you went to go see the James Bond movie?
Yeah, Jess and I and Ashley went to see it today, and it wasn't necessarily as good as Skyfall, but it was a good follow-up to it. Like, Skyfall is one of the best Bond films I've seen in a long time. So
yeah, I saw that and I enjoyed it.
It really had a lot to compete with, but I enjoyed it. I actually remarked to Jess after the movie that it felt like it was the turning of the page, like it's the beginning of a new chapter.
Okay.
Basically. The casting for the different characters, not to give anything away, beautiful. The story was fairly solid too. They utilized, Spectre to tie the previous three movies into it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Like, they kind of explained who, the villains and stuff were a little bit better, I think.
Right. So
it was good. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to owning it on DVD to add it to my Bond collection, because I've got them all up on DVDs or Blu-ray, so might as well just keep that trucking along.
Have I ever asked you who your favorite Bond is?
I don't think you have. I actually have two Bonds that are tied.
Okay, who?
Sean Connery. That's who I grew up watching first.
Okay, Sean Connery.
There was always a network around November that would always air Bond films. It was like a week worth of movies, and it was like TNT, then it was Spike, then it was something.
Yeah. I remember that.
No
USA.
Incarnation it is now, but so Sean Connery has always been my first favorite. Like, he's the top, and the rest of the Bonds just kind of seemed off.
Okay.
I appreciate them for different aspects because they kind of represent the time frame that they were made.
Uh-huh.
But Daniel Craig, I don't know what it is about his portrayal of the character, but he's like my second favorite.
Huh.
Because I think I made the remark to Jess during the movie. I love that the fighting is never easy.
Right.
Clearly, this man is a trained assassin. He could kill you with, an item on the desk. Mm-hmm. But it's still going to be a fight,
Sure.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that they're doing that. It doesn't seem too easy, you know what I mean? Mm. But I'd laugh. We're watching the movie, and the one guy sort of looked familiar, but I couldn't figure out who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And here it was the wrestler, Dave Bautista.
Who? Oh, okay, yeah.
He had facial hair. He was Drax in
yes,
Guardians of the Galaxy, and he looked different than what I was so used to seeing him, and I think he did a good job. I mean, it's not as good of a role as Drax, but
he was kind of made for that.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It was good. Glad I went to see it opening weekend.
Well, that's good.
And if you're a fan of Bond, I'd recommend it. Who's yours? Out of curiosity.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan.
Now, I grew up with Roger Moore as my first,
mm-hmm.
because my father would watch them when they were on TV, and as a little kid, That was the first when I thought of James Bond. I didn't even know who Sean Connery was.
It was who you were exposed to, and I think
Exactly.
that's who it is for a lot of people.
And I thought Lazenby did a great job in the one he did.
Yeah,
I caught that about maybe 10, 15 years ago and went, oh, it's a shame he was so difficult to work with because I thought he was fantastic.
I actually had the opportunity to meet him, and he was very nice. I think it surprised him because, like I said, there's something about each Bond that I can, like each actor that I can take away from that I can appreciate. And I told him, I said, I appreciate the fact that your character added the right amount of levity to it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of like smiled and thanked me, and then, you know, I got an autograph from him and a photo, and it was very genuine.
I read an interview where they were talking to him about it, like, you know, how about the fact that you were only James Bond in one movie? And he kind of admitted, he's like, well, to be fair, that was my fault. I was not easy to work with. I made the mistake of, you know, being a jerk during the whole thing and saying, I don't need this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they made sure I didn't need that.
Yeah.
And he realizes it, and I love that.
And the fact that he's a big enough person to admit that.
Exactly.
That speaks volume of his character as a person.
But, you know, Pierce Brosnan looks, and when I think of James Bond,
he definitely has the look.
That's the guy.
I just find it funny that the reason we ended up with Timothy Dalton is because Brosnan was stuck doing Remington Steele.
Yeah, he couldn't get out of his contract.
Yeah, he was locked into contract, and they're like, well, we have to move forward with this, so we're gonna have to go with, I hate to say it, Plan B. Yeah, it's just.
You know what? I'll tell you something. I love Pierce Brosnan's James Bond movies. As soon as it came out, my buddy from college, Josh, and I went to go see it because he's big into James Bond. And right from the first scene, where you find out that he has to fight, who is it, 006 or something. Yeah. Well, and then the whole riding the motorcycle off the cliff and then trying to jump into the plane as it's falling. I mean, right from the beginning, it's, you know, exactly what James Bond is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But he's so natural at it, and he was the right age, and I think if he got saddled with James Bond any sooner, I don't even know if they mentioned this. I watched like a biography last year about the making of those movies. The poor Timothy Dalton had terrible scripts. He's his favorite, but I don't think it's his fault. I think
he did, with what he had at his disposal, I think he did a good job.
Sure.
I love the actor. He's damn talented.
I like Von Chuck. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, thank God Pierce Brosnan didn't get sucked into those scripts, because that would have been terrible. Yeah. I think he even said that. He goes, looking back on it now, I'm really glad I didn't go when I did, because and it's all the behind the scenes stuff, like the people who owned it as opposed to the people who wrote it. They were fighting, and people were making their own James Bond movies, which is why they brought Sean Connery back.
Sean Connery was back for one film during Roger Moore's time.
What was it?
It was during Roger Moore's time. So there were I think they released in the same year, if I remember correctly.
I think it was Never Say Never Again or something like that.
Something like that. It was a rehash of Thunderball, if I recall.
Yes, it was, and I loved it because I saw it on TV.
So
and it's like, he's supposed to be retired, and he comes out of retirement, and isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Bond films. You can't go into them fully expecting like the most serious. There's going to be a little bit of coyness. There's going to be a little bit of
little bit. You could tell during the poor Dalton movies they went too far, and
that was
more too.
For like I said, the movies definitely reflect the time that they were made.
Yes,
it was the late 80s, early 90s when those were made. So the world was trying to get over, the 70s and 80s and the dysfunctionality of the 90s.
Yeah.
So.
Well, while you were doing that, I had to go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Really? Those are still around.
Oh, they're still around, and because typically if the kids have a birthday party, I don't mind going with them.
Right.
Chuck E. Cheese is the seventh layer of Hades, however, because
I remember it being a special kind of place when I was a child that I was always fearful of having to go to. So I can imagine what it is like as an adult.
yeah. Well, fortunately now they let the adults get their own drinks from the fountain as opposed to like waiting for the pitcher to come, so I was content. But it reminded me of where I grew up, we had a Chuck E. Cheese connected to the Kmart in our area.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Chuck E. Cheese is a lot more safe now. A lot more, there's rules and you can't leave without an adult. You have to make sure your stamps match and blah, 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 blah. When I was a kid, I would have to go to birthday parties there, and kids that would be 10, 11, the parents would still make their kid have their party there. And at that age, you're
it's no longer the cool thing to get done.
Exactly. You're too cool. Not that you're too cool for school, but come on. Like, wow, you're going to make me stand up on stage while this semi-functioning robot says, "Hey, everybody, it's insert name here, birthday today." So, and they'd have like the robots, and not all of them would work.
Or they'd be very clunky.
I'm not kidding. Some of them would spark because the people who ran it, look at, here's your pizza, here's your cake. It was sectioned off into different rooms. They had one giant movie screen where if you went into this room, it was dark, and the kids were supposed to watch TV. The older kids would go in there to make out. So, that's not even the worst room. The worst room was okay, you were supposed to climb a cargo net to the top of this plateau, sit in a seat where, of course, people who worked there were supposed to be there, hop in it, and ride along the wall down into the ball pit. Okay, now, the ball pit, by the way, Bacteria City.
Oh, I believe it.
I gotta keep saying, nobody's watching this. So, that mesh seat had broken off years ago. But what the kids would do, they'd climb the cargo net, grab onto this rope, and throw themselves off it, and go down, and as you went around the corner, you'd slam your little body into the wall, and keep going. Now, that was if you were lucky. If you weren't lucky and you didn't get a good hold of that rope, you'd plummet to a broken leg. I'm not exaggerating.
I believe it.
So they go, whoop, bam, and you hear crying, and your reward for hanging on all the way down to the bottom after you bounced off the walls and had bruises and didn't get a broken leg was you landed in the urine-infested ball pit.
Yep, because kids can't hold their bladder.
When I think of this, and, to go out in there, hey, kids, and the machine is sparking and, like, twitching.
You were getting flashbacks, weren't you?
Oh, I'm telling you, we were all comparing notes, because a lot of us remember that same place. And then it became Zach Periwinkle's because of a cockroach infestation. And then something else happened while it was Zach Periwinkle's, which was the same darn thing, only they put a panda suit over Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's not the same as when we were little and almost dying. It's hilarious to think that was the world we lived in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as the world as we get older, the weirder the world gets.
But, I mean, no rules. Nobody cared. Nobody watched the place.
Yeah.
Wanted to tell you, too, I've been watching this show on 44. I'll have what Phil's having. And they've only made like maybe 6 episodes so far. And it's Phil Rosenthal, who was the showrunner for Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, okay.
He's hilarious. But he's also a sincerely sweet man who loves food. So they said, all right, we're going to do this show where you go to Barcelona. You're going to go to Italy. You're going to go to Hong Kong. And he's all about it because the way the show starts off is, growing up, I just had dull food. Meat was a punishment. And then I got a little older and started to explore the world and realized how good food is. Mm-hmm. So this show really, if you're a foodie,
I was going to say, it sounds like a foodie's paradise.
Because you're watching it through his eyes. He's going through Hong Kong, and some of the food's really good. Some of it's a little weird. A little bit of it's unedible. But he goes to Barcelona, and the sights are beautiful, and he's meeting people. And then the Italy one, it really makes you value family and friendship and really what it means to sit down with another human being and eat.
Mm-hmm.
It really, you have tears. Cindy and I are sitting there with tears in our eyes watching this episode. Actually, both episodes, because they're addicting.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you get to see how how other cultures treat mealtime. Like, Gordon Ramsay's...
Love Kitchen Nightmares.
Oh, yeah, Kitchen Nightmares, but he's got one where it was Gordon's Great Kitchen Escape or something like that. And really what it was he would go to an area in the world and learn how to perform or make dishes from that, like, actual regional food. Mm-hmm. And it was really interesting because he was going out with a bunch of people into the wilderness to go hunting, and he looks at the cameraman and he makes some kind of remark about, oh yeah, this couldn't end badly. Single white guy walking out in the middle of the wilderness with a bunch of aborigines or whatever, and they're all, sporting shotguns, and I mean like huge shotguns and rifles and everything, and clearly it was made in joke, it was made in jest and everything, but it was just kind of comical because I'm sure anybody in their rational mind would feel like, yeah, I don't see this ending badly at all. And he actually vocalized it, yeah. And it's just, I know some people hate on Gordon Ramsay, but...
Oh, I love Gordon Ramsay.
I would probably eat anything that man would make if he, made a meal.
I'm dying to try a couple things that he brings up a lot. He makes a burger whenever he goes to try and rescue certain restaurants.
Yeah.
And he'll go, here's a simple burger. That's how he says it. So Cindy and I in the house, we're like, it's a burger. Yeah. He makes everything sound so good. And his beef Wellington.
Beef Wellington.
I want to try both of those things at least. Yeah. So, anyway, Phil Rosenthal is very sincere and a happy, sweet guy. Mm-hmm. Love him. Well, he's excited about food. Like, he jumps up and down and gets, all bouncy and everything. So, you watch these episodes and you just feel good about the world. For a show to do that, to make, you value another human being, because these are people from different countries who are just welcoming him with open arms and
oh yeah,
very patient, loving, and kind, and he's sweet to them. Well, that's the one side of it. The other thing that happened, like last week we watched both of those episodes, and I felt really good about the world, and then I turned on Facebook. I went from loving the world to hating people. Because...
this tends to happen when we peruse Facebook.
I'm telling you, and it's just how disgusting people are in just they're not even angry about something. They're angry, and you're...
gosh, how to interact with one another.
Well, right, but not even one another. Somebody felt like going on and saying, I had an effing sandwich today. You don't need to put the effing in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I'm upset and I need to express myself, which, again, I don't choose those words, but I'm trying to look for patience and understanding.
Yeah.
However, I'm scrolling, and I'm like, you're disgusting, you're horrible, and then, as I scroll down, it just made me look at the other side of the world and just think, I hate all you people.
And it's funny, a lot of times, like, when I'm on Facebook, this is what I'm doing. Don't care, don't care, don't care. Oh, what are they up to? Oh, okay, cool. Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care, don't... I care I genuinely, on some level, care about the person. I just don't care about their drama. So I'll just past it. And I try not to let things get to me, but there are times where it's just like,
yeah.
Fall into a hole and hide.
And you do have the people who whine and the people say, what a terrible day I had. For people to then go, why? What happened?
Yeah. It's almost like they want to just spread their depression on others.
Or attention bait. Come on,
attention bait. Yeah. Well, there's like right now I've been dealing with some annoyances with you know me, I'm a gamer. There's a game coming out Tuesday called Fallout 4.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this game since 2008. Didn't know the game actually existed until July of this year.
Okay.
I have been extraordinarily happy. In the last 2 weeks, I've wanted to rip people's eyes out because they're just being a-holes to be a-holes. You know, a-holes to be a-holes, basically.
Sure.
And, yeah, some people are... They just want to see chaos and discontent. Like, I'm a member of this one group, and people are complaining about stupid stuff. And they're baiting other people into starting fights with them.
Yep.
So I responded to a question somebody asked, and I even in my comments said, "But that's my views." Basically.
Did you know how to?
One person remarked and said, I partially agree with your take on things, but I appreciate the fact that you understand we can have differences of opinion. Exactly.
Exactly.
One a-hole decided to post 30 memes. I counted because I got a notification every effing time about how gaming on a computer is far superior. And just ego trip from people that have that closed-minded mentality.
Right.
And this guy kept falling into the bait. I didn't, until the guy ended up having a meme where it was it's a popular meme of Leonardo DiCaprio with a wine glass from the Great Gatsby movie, and he's like toasting you.
Okay.
It says, "You find that offensive, I find it funny." And at the bottom it says, "That's why I'm happier."
Okay.
And at that point, I lost it. I started laughing because it was so drastically different from anything that I had seen. So I messaged the guy. I said, "Hey, look, I understand you were being a troll to be a troll, but that was a pretty good one." And at that point, it stopped. And I think he realized that he was not going to win against me in trying to get attention from me until he chose humor.
Right.
But it's just like, some people are just so... Oh, and people apparently are spoiling stuff from the game, which I don't even understand how people have the game in their hands yet, since it's not supposed to be released until Tuesday.
Right.
Tells me people are doing a little extra something on the side, or...
Of course.
Palms or something. But it's frustrating.
Well, speaking of the internet and all that type of thing, yeah. I'm working on the computer here the other night, and someone who I thought was already a Facebook friend. You know how sometimes they something happens and they have to close their account and start it up again, so they have to re-friend.
Yeah, or their account got hacked or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, wait for it. Beep boop. After I say, okay, friends again. Beep boop. Hi. I'm like, okay, this is someone who's never gotten chatty on. It's like a friend of my mother-in-law. We'll say her name's Pat for sake of argument. Hi. I'm like, hi. How are you? Fine. I'm good too. Do you know that Zuckerberg on Facebook is supporting politically blah, 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 blah? And I wrote, this isn't Pat, is it? And it's quiet for a second. Beep, boop. No, that's me. I said, yeah, prove it. How do we know each other? Deleted the account. I'm like, caught you, you piece of garbage.
Yeah, there was somebody that basically tried to do the whole thing, but it was about that woman from Kentucky.
Okay.
That closed-minded woman.
Yeah.
Just to be polite.
That's nice.
And it happened while they sent me a friend request while I was at a convention, and the name sounded familiar. I thought it was somebody that I'd actually met at the convention. I'm like, okay, name sounds familiar. I'll go ahead and add them. And then I saw what their profile picture and cover photo and like the last 10 posts had been. I went right up to the little thing, went click, unfriend, block, unfollow.
I was looking to like report them, but they had already deleted the account. I thought, boy, that's a lot of effort to just
bait people.
I don't know what their point was. They weren't going to get money from me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's sad. It's sad. That's ultimately what it is. It's just sad that people do that.
Yeah, and it's confusing too, because I'm like, wow, that's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
A lot of effort to be a scumbag.
Yeah.
Anywho, let's talk about comics.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time yet before I'm gonna have to hop off here.
Yeah.
But what comics have you been reading?
Well, it's best if you start off that ball rolling, because I'm like 3 months behind, and since I read them on my iPad,
Oh, okay.
here's what happens. I'm still reading them. I'm still buying them every week. But instead of going, okay, I'm reading this week's comics, and then I read next week's comics, no. I pick the title I'm on, and then I'm 3 months behind, well, I'm reading 3 issues in a row. So
Yeah. Well, I'll do that too. I'm caught up on most stuff. I think I'm a week behind on my Marvel comics, and a handful of the other comics. Which, oh, by the way, Doctor Who, they have the 8th Doctor, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctor all now have comics.
I know, isn't that great?
And I have them, I just haven't read them yet.
Me too.
A 4 Doctor.
That is, I haven't started that yet.
I don't know which Doctors they are. I don't even remember looking at the cover. I just went click, 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 transfer. Okay, we're good. I'll get to it.
I'll tell you, when they came out with 10th Doctor, 12th Doctor, and 10th, 11th, and 12th, all, the 3 of them have ongoing series now.
Mm-hmm. The 9th Doctor doesn't seem like his is like sporadic.
Well, the 9th Doctor is just a miniseries.
Oh, okay.
That's just a miniseries, but 10, 11, and 12 are ongoing.
Yeah, I have a feeling they'll do that with 8 as well. And then they'll just do little mini stories whenever they get the...
Right. Well, I've been reading all 3 titles for the past year. The 9th miniseries is good. I'm enjoying it. The art's fantastic.
I love the artwork in all of them all of the ones that I've read.
Yeah. 10, of course I love because it's 10. And it's, they keep the feeling of... There's one point where he gets hit with the ray and it makes him degenerate. So he becomes 9 again for a second.
Oh, wow.
So you get to see 9 in 10's clothes.
Nice. Well, I mean, it is fair. 10
yeah. Well, I'm still enjoying 12. I don't know how much I'm going to keep up on it, but 11 I'm done. I wasn't enjoying 11's story arc. It feels like work to read the series now, and I cleared the year. I'm going to read the miniseries of the 3 doctors. Is it 3? Yeah, 3 doctors.
It says 4.
Is it 4? Oh, you're right, because of the War Doctor. It's the 4 Doctors. I'm going to read that because I love crossovers, sucker for that. But then I'm only going to stick to at least 10 in the miniseries. I'm slowly starting to phase certain comics out myself. I'm caught up with, like I said, with most of DC. I'm behind on Constantine only because the Constantine Hellraiser or Hellblazer. Sure.
I'm sure somebody will correct me on there. The problem I have with that is it's so freaking wordy. It's like I want to read a comic book, not a book.
Right. Well, he doesn't have much else going. You know what I mean? Like he's, wordy.
I mean, I like the character, so that's why I haven't stopped. But the changes after Convergence with Gordon becoming,
Yeah.
With Gordon becoming Batman. I wasn't sure how I'd like it. I was very suspecting I was going to be like, that's it, I'm done.
Right.
But I like how they're showing him trying to be like Batman and realizing he can't be Batman. He's got to be his own version of it.
Yep.
And I love the fact that he went and talked with Bruce Wayne, not knowing Bruce Wayne was Batman.
Right.
And with what's going on with Bruce Wayne, I'm waiting because it's bound to happen. Wayne's going to end up coming back.
Of course.
It'll just be what major event transpires to cause the resurgence.
Well, for those who aren't keeping up on the books, Bruce Wayne lost his memory.
Yeah.
I suspect it's not even Bruce Wayne. I think it's like a clone.
You think? I don't know.
We'll see.
Time will tell, basically.
Yeah,
But,
and I love Scott Snyder's writing, so I'm willing to tolerate Gordon as Batman because it's an interesting take for a little while.
yeah, and he has some very interesting moments. Like, have you read the Justice League?
I need to catch up on.
I'm sorry, it wasn't Justice League. It was the latest issue of Detective Comics.
Yes, I did. I was just about to bring that up to you. Well, that was great.
Where he was basically, hey, we need somebody we need a
Justice League
team, and he's helping them solve a murder, and it just there's no way Bruce Wayne Batman would have been able to work in that situation. It wouldn't have felt like that last couple panels would not.
I didn't. I only got to the point where they came to his door and said, or they went to the Wayne Manor and she put the lasso around him. It's the next issue I haven't read yet.
Okay, that issue, there parts of it Bruce Wayne would have been able to do, but the last couple panels, I don't think it would have felt. It would have felt a little off had it been Bruce Wayne Batman.
I'll have to read it and let you know because now it got me all curious.
But yeah, I enjoyed that. The Justice League Dark Side War.
I have to catch up. I'm so far behind on that. I'm at the point where Batman just got into the Morbius chair.
Oh yeah, that leads to some interesting stuff.
Yeah. The Joker's who? No way.
Yeah, there's a shot of him sitting in the Batcave on the Mobius chair, looking at every shot of the Joker from ever.
Wow.
And, it's like, oh god, he's gonna go after the Joker. This is insane.
I love it. I mean, that's gutsy stuff.
Yeah, it's just, they've dealt with that. I read the Flat. I've been reading all the Darkseid hyphen superhero ones because of it.
I'm getting them. I just have to catch up.
Yeah. You need a good day where you just can lock yourself and just.
Yep. Yeah. What happens is I get, by the time I get upstairs and I watch what I'm going to watch, I'll try to squeeze in some issues if I'm not too tired. But you can tell that moment where I don't even want to watch something where I have to pay attention. I just want something.
Or you get to that moment where you're sitting there reading and you hit yourself in the head because you
yes.
forward and you hit.
The tap has fallen into my face numerous times.
A couple times. It's funny because sometimes when Jess and I go on vacation or conventions and stuff, I'll take the tablet with me and I'll hop in bed. She'll fall asleep and I'll dim the screen, and she can generally tell when I'm struggling just to get through a comic, because I'm tired, but I want to finish the comic,
Yep.
But yeah, of the DC ones, I've enjoyed what I've read. Catwoman's been interesting.
Yeah.
I'm
surprised you're reading those. I'll tell you, I love that you're more gutsy and willing to try a whole bunch of titles than I am.
Well, there's a comic book title that I never thought I would have read called Sex Criminals, which is just absurd as hell.
Right.
And it's not something child friendly, obviously with Sex Criminals, but it's absurd, and I think that's part of the reason I enjoy it, just because it's like, really? The guy's doing that?
Right.
Okay, I guess we're going down that rabbit hole, It's amusing. It's a guilty pleasure comic. The Walking Dead comics have been very good.
I have to catch up.
I know the show deviates from the comics, but I appreciate them for what they are.
Absolutely. Well, the comics are fantastic. I just have to catch up.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, talking about Batman.
Yeah, good.
You know that very soon the robotic Jim Gordon outfit, the Bunny Bat, or whatever they want to call it, will go down in history as one of the worst outfits ever. You know how they do that every couple of years? They're like, oh, let's list the,
Yeah.
And that I'm sorry, I don't mind a robot Batman suit for Gordon, but that looks terrible.
It looks weird.
Ugh, with the bunny ears. It's not even bat ears, it's bunny ears.
I think that's what takes away from it. Everything else you can just kind of accept.
Yeah.
I mean, I dig the bat suit he wears
yes.
outside of it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it. And I like how lanky he is. He's not built like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, and I like that they do that. With Batman Beyond, I missed something. Like
Yes, you did.
I don't know where the storyline is or anything.
I can tell you.
But I like that in the in one of the most recent ones they actually reference Gordon Batsuit.
Yes, I'm all caught up on that.
That was cool. I was like, oh wow, and like he's getting ready to leave the cave, and Barbara's like, hold on, and all of a sudden the suit changes color to, the black and red. I'm like, oh, that still got the, but that kind of makes it look cool.
Yes, I agree, absolutely. And okay, so you didn't read the year-long DC mega series, I guess it is, where it was supposed to be in the future by 5 years.
Yeah, I did not read all
That's where that happened.
Future Perfect or something like that was the subtitle or whatever.
It was basically Terry McGinnis. I'll tell you, Terry McGinnis comes from the future.
Right.
And, because those iMac robot things are destroying everybody. So Bruce Wayne, in a last-ditch effort as they're breaking through the cave walls, sends Terry back. Now, he's supposed to stop OMAC from starting, but the calculations are off, and he's 5 years late.
Oh.
So, which would be our current day.
Right.
Okay. Cut to the end of the whole darn thing, and he dies. And Tim Drake jumps in his suit to finish that mission, and then gets sucked back to the future, which, oh, by the way, that whole series, that whole mega series, pointless because nothing got fixed.
Yeah,
he didn't save the day. He just went boom, and now it's him. I'm waiting for Terry to come back, but it's older Tim Drake.
Yeah. In
his place.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, but it's like I felt like I was missing something. Okay, now things make a little bit more sense and they click a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you reading?
What's that?
I was gonna say, are you reading Batman and Robin Eternal?
Yes. I like that they're doing. I like the miniseries that they're doing. I like that it's a weekly basis because
I know
that I would gut somebody because that would drive me crazy. I like that we're getting Cassandra
Cain.
Yeah. I like that we're getting her. I like that they're keeping her more or less mute. I think she said maybe like one thing,
words.
1 or 2 words. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been very good. Let's see, Harley Quinn, I kind of put on a back burner. That's when I'm bored and I really have nothing to read.
Yeah.
I mean, I think introducing her gang is what's kind of like taking it away from me. She's kind of less fun.
Well, for me, I'll tell you, I love Harley Quinn as the Joker's girlfriend. I like her as, some characters are great, but that doesn't mean they need their own series.
Yeah, like if they had treated it like a mini-series, I think it would have been better.
Sure. And like Lobo's a great Superman villain. I don't need to read his adventures every week. Yeah. Same thing like Deathstroke. Let's say Deathstroke to be a villain that comes up once a year, maybe every 2 years, and causes a mega event. Yeah. I don't need to read his weekly adventures.
Yeah, with like I'll hop over here to Marvel. The Marvel Star Wars comics have been phenomenal.
Yes.
And I think part of the reason why I like them is they've got really only 3 that are long going. Star Wars, Darth Vader, and Kanan the Last Padawan.
Which is great.
Yeah, great. All 3 of them are superb. I love them. Chewbacca, Lando, and Leia all are getting short, like 5-issue runs. And I'd be willing to bet we're going to end up seeing Luke and Han.
Probably. Well, I haven't started to read it yet, but they are doing 2 more series where one picks up right after Jedi.
Yeah, which I've got those issues. And
okay.
The first one was pretty good because it introduces side characters and it actually kind of focuses on them a little bit.
Well, yeah, and it's supposed to be the gap.
Yeah, you see them reacting to, at least in the first issue, you see them reacting to the destruction of the second Death Star, and yeah, you get to kind of see how people in that universe perceive our heroes, and I like that. It's kind of like they admire them, they respect them, type thing. It's kind of neat that they're doing that.
And then there's another one where it's given us more of the it's closer to the new movie that's coming out, where it's, telling you about the parents of such and such, that type of thing. Now, I'm getting them all, but I haven't read those too. Like, I'm not getting Chewbacca, I'm getting Star Wars. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And I'm getting the last Padawan, Kanan. Yeah. But I haven't. I bought them, but I haven't read those fill in between Jedi and the new movie. Yeah. I'm anxious stuff.
Once I read them, I'll tell you if you have to read them now or if you can wait.
Okay. Like I said, they're months away in my pile.
Yeah, the Lando story arc, the five or 4 issue story arc of Lando, his was actually pretty good.
I think it's Charles Soule. Because he's the one who's now taking over Daredevil.
I think so.
And Ron Garney is going to be the artist, which I love his art. I just hate. Have you seen the pictures of Daredevil?
I think you showed me.
It's black.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I don't. Well, yeah, and most of it I can tolerate. I don't mind the gloves being a bandage that's wrapped around the hand.
Yeah.
I have a problem with it being black, and I have a problem with them messing with his double D symbol.
Yeah.
They have like flames coming off it. I'm like, ugh.
Makes sense, yeah.
It takes the edge off it.
Yeah. Well, comic books, the nice thing is you just wait it out and it'll change.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just the waiting is the difficult part. But yeah, I'm really bummed that the Marvel run for Black Widow is done.
Is it?
Yeah. But, it was a nice solid series. Like, I think it was like 20 episodes, or 20 episodes. Wow. 20 issues. I loved Noto, I think is the guy's name. I love his art style. I wasn't sure I was going to like it at first, but it grew on me quickly.
Sure.
And it was really good. I'm trying to think.
What about Spider-Man?
I just started reading the Spider-Man one. The latest iteration of Spider-Man.
I bought them again. I'm going to read that for a while, and I'm going to read the Miles Morales one.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting with the Spider-Man one. They address apparently Peter Parker's come into wealth.
Right.
And he now runs a multi-million-dollar company.
Yes.
But it's funny. They're like, "Oh, you're a poor man's Tony Stark." He goes, "No, I'm not. I don't pay myself a ridiculously amount of money. I make the same amount my highest rating or highest paid executive level makes." And it's just like, whoa, that's thinking outside the box. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm trying to think what else I read. Read the Star Trek ongoing with the Abrams verse.
Okay, I read. You know what? Star Trek. I read when they did. I don't know if you read it, but it was a the Q Gambit or whatever they call it, and that was fantastic because it had them interact with all the other generations.
Yep,
that was beautiful.
That was a beautiful way to tie it in with the Alpha timeline, as I've kind of dubbed it with talking to Star Trek fans. Because I love Star Trek fans, but they whine and complain about Abrams' take on Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yeah.
They don't realize that he basically did what Star Trek has always done.
Right.
You know.
Apparently, the rumor is there's going to be a new Star Trek show.
Yeah, it's going to be. They're looking to premiere it in January of 2017, and this is where I think CBS is shooting themselves in the foot. They're going to air the pilot on regular TV, but the only way to watch the series is to subscribe to a service that they're going to be launching.
Mm-hmm.
And you say shooting themselves in the foot?
Yeah, that's kind of stupid.
That's something of that magnitude. They're dumb. Sorry, that's a bad business decision.
And let's also remember that could change.
I told people I've told some people, I said there will be enough of a fuss made that they will probably a month or two before the thing actually gets released. Oh, by the way, we're not making it only available on there, but you know, our this will be joining the rest of our TV shows for streams on our service. You know, they'll modify it.
Thank God. I mean, I can't. I'll give it a shot because even though I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan, I watched Enterprise when it was on for at least the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
Because wow, that could have been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
To see the beginning of Star Trek. Okay. Plus, it had Scott Bakula on it, so I'm like, well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh man. Let me think. What are you reading? Green Arrow.
No, I have not started reading Green Arrow, only because I noticed I've got a lot of comics that I read.
Right.
As I phase some things out, I might go back and catch up. You know what I mean?
Check with me first because that's one that it has a new writer, new artist, and I kind of liked what I've read so far, but again, I'm months behind.
Okay.
And, I'll say yay or nay because they had a great artist, writer team last year, the year before, and I loved it. It was beautiful to look at. And then they switched it. And I'm like, oh, so no, I don't care. And the writer, whoever took, you know who it was? I'll tell you who it was. The people who write the TV show, they're like, well, let's let them write the comic. And it was terrible. It was god-awful. I mean, they were trying to make everything like the TV show.
They do final TV format, but not written format, basically.
Yeah. Are you reading Superman?
I'm slowly getting into it because I've been reading the Superman and Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman's.
By the way, Superman Wonder Woman has been excellent right from the beginning. I thought this would be a flop.
Yeah. I like the fact that he's got limitations for right now.
Right.
I'm curious how long that's going to last.
You know what? I don't even mind the limitations. You know what I mind? Everybody knows his identity now.
Yeah.
But, Superman's tough enough to write as it is, but one of the things that makes him great is having to hide his secret identity. Yeah. If you take away a whole bunch of his powers like they have, well, now that makes the whole concealing your identity thing even better to read because he doesn't have the speed to change real quick.
Yeah.
That, I think, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and again, tell me if I'm wrong when this happens, but they also made a mistake of killing off both of his parents. When they did the New 52, he already lost both of his parents in a car accident, by the way.
Yeah.
Not old age, it was a car accident. So, here's what I think is going to happen. Whatever storyline they decide to actually give him back his secret identity, they will bring back his parents.
You think?
I hope. I don't, when they did the New 52, they're like, look, we're radical, we're hip, we're not making it the Superman you knew, he doesn't work for the newspaper, he's a blogger. And people went, I don't care, give us Superman. So now they've had to go back and give him his job back again, and this, that, the other thing. So I think that's one of those steps towards giving us our Superman back. When he gets his identity back, they're like, all right, let's have him go back in time and stop the car from getting wrecked or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, a prime example of that is with what's going on with Batman. We're having to see someone pretend to be Batman, basically.
Yep.
And the thing I like is, I'm pretty sure at some point in the comic, Gordon remarks that, he's struggling to do this, and yet a guy in a costume had no problems doing what he's doing. That acknowledgement of, I have everything that should make it, ridiculously easy for me, and I'm struggling when this, dude in a cloth suit rocked it. It's...
Yeah. I'm also anxious to get him back to being our commissioner again.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet something is either going to happen to Gordon in the suit that's going to cause him to take a step back to commissioner, or hell, maybe it's going to be a combination of the two. a tragedy happening to the reformed Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's either something's going to happen where, boop, you get your memory back, or they go, no, this wasn't really Bruce Wayne at all. Bruce Wayne is still under the cap
somewhere.
Yeah. And, this guy, because when they checked him out, when Wonder Woman put the lasso on him, she's like, he has no memory of anything. It's not like it's hidden. It's not there.
Yeah.
So I think it was a clone that doesn't know any different. But again, we'll see. In a couple months, we'll have this conversation. Go, I was right or not.
Well, did you read the latest annual for, I think it was Batman, where he's taking a tour of his home with the girl that's helping him the girl that he's helping at the community center?
Sure. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard of it.
Okay. That's one that by the end of it, I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat reading through the damn thing. Like, come on, just give us that look, And it's beautiful. I'm not going to go into detail, but in all the comics, that one, I expected something more to happen, but I'm also kind of glad it didn't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it had happened in there, it would have felt too cheap because, I don't think we've been without Bruce Wayne as Batman long enough.
Right. I agree. But at the same time,
I've noticed their milestones happen they usually last for about a year.
Right.
Court of Owls took a year to play out. Joker took a year to play out. Everything seems to take a year to stew, to boil.
Yeah. Well, I like you said, if you just wait it out, things are bound to come around full circle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean that's the thing with comics. I mean, and it amuses me when people are like, oh well, they're changing Star Trek, or they're rebooting Battlestar Galactica, or they're rebooting this, and they're like, guys, comic book fans go through this like every 5 years.
Yep. Well, have you been reading Batgirl?
Yes.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, Batgirl was one of those when they changed the art style and everything. I'm like, I'm gonna just die from diabetes because this is too cutesy and stuff. And it's like, it's actually been pretty good.
It is. It's fun.
I don't think I enjoy it as much as I did before.
Okay.
But I've still enjoyed it, and it's like a different level of enjoyment.
I'm enjoying it because they're making her young and lighthearted again.
Yeah, and I think because I've gotten so used to the female broodiness that, and I've really enjoyed it. Like, did you read the latest issue? Buddy?
No. The last one I read is where she starts kissing Luke Fox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the...
I know that Dick Grayson it comes in the window and is like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, that him popping back is a bit of a thorn in the side for a bit, but it kind of gives them a little bit of closure too at the same time. So it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
Well, speaking of that, I really can't wait for Nightwing to come back. I can't stand what they're doing with Dick Grayson right now.
Yeah, with him being super spy and all that. We'll see if they're building all this up to eventually get us to Batman Beyond level of things.
Yeah.
Grayson would end up getting teamed up with Batman again, or Bruce Wayne again for brief time. Barbara ends up becoming involved with the police. Things are going to have to turn.
I don't see, and that's the thing. We're never going to get to the Batman Begins future because until we're living it, then it's also they've also established that it's a possible future.
Absolutely.
You don't want to pigeonhole yourself and say no. We definitely have to. This is what they did with the 5 year later long story arc. Was this is 5 years, so. Wait for it. And no, because now you can't tell writers you have to write these certain stories Because now they're not creative. And now they're not fun and they're predictable. And by the way, that whole year-long story, 95% of it was crap.
Yep.
It wasn't worth it. It wasn't at the same time they were doing Batman Eternal, which was a weekly.
Oh my God.
Which was so good.
I loved that.
Right?
That was perfect. And I can see Batman and Robin Eternal having like the same impact.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, and again, I have to start reading it when I catch up to it. Batman and Robin Eternal is a whole lot more consistent and overall better than what Batman Eternal was. Because Batman Eternal would start certain stories, and then you wouldn't get back to that story until like 5 months later.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that was because they had, okay, these people are working on these issues. It's like it was too compartmentalized.
Yeah. And it's funny. I never appreciated Batwing so much as I did in that story.
Yeah.
Right. Like I liked his suit. I like the part that, and I don't like when they decide to tack on a new partner or a new Bat family member.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. We don't. Again, I think we have one too many Robins as it is. Either make Tim Drake go away or make Damian go away. And they really made sure to change Tim Drake to the point where he's not even the Tim Drake that we knew and liked.
Yes.
He's like, so make him go away. Make him go away and make him be somebody else, not Robin. Or Red Robin or whatever burger thing they want to call him this week. Like we have Nightwing. He's the older son. He's the one who started the whole thing. We have Jason, who's the rebellious middle child.
Which he's had some great moments in the Eternal series.
Yeah, I've heard that too. But I always liked him better as the villain. I like him being I don't think I'm wrong. I'm just a better Batman than you are, Batman, and I'm killing people.
Yeah, I'm willing to go that distance. You're not.
And it doesn't make sense that right now Batman would be like, okay, he's back alive. He's killing folks, but I'm okay with that. Like, no.
Like, no, you would stop him. You would put him in a wheelchair.
Yeah, he wouldn't just go, meh, I'm just going to turn a blind eye to this. No, he's putting bullets in people.
Yeah.
Now, if they have him use the gun non-lethally, I'll go with that.
Keep the knees and stuff like that.
But then,
I think we may be getting close to our time.
Yeah. Then they have one more spot to fill, the current Robin. Either make it be Damian or make it be Tim Drake.
Yeah.
You have one extra that nobody cares about.
Yeah, or, And what are they doing with Blue Jay or that Harper Row character?
Another character I never needed, never wanted. Unless she's going to be the Oracle. If you're going to make her be the computer person that they contact.
Yeah, and have Batgirl be Batgirl. Yeah, I could see that. And Spoiler be like an extension of her, maybe?
Maybe. She could be part of the field team. You could put her and Cassandra Cain in a series together. That'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe that's how they're looking to maybe restart Birds of Prey.
That would be nice. See, I would go with that.
And three characters that maybe aren't strong enough on their own, but as a collectively,
absolutely. Well, we'll wait and see what happens.
Well, just remember, if it happens,
you called it. You named it here first.
DC Comics, should give us I can't say royalty because we're just speculating here, but we had the crazy theory.
Well, we're going to let everybody go now, and we'll catch up next time. We do want to give a nice shout-out to Joseph Arnold, who was nice enough to update a logo for Nathan that he's now part of the normal team, the regular team, I should say. So our one logo got updated. I'm going to work on a variation of it, so that way, that's the other thing. We're trying to get these episodes on iTunes.
Yes. So Geekdom expressed anyway.
Yeah, to get it out there to more people, because the people who are listening like it, but a lot of people don't know about it yet, so please spread the word. And then don't forget to check out Nathan's company.
CommissionedCredentials.com.
Yep.
I do geeky and novelty ID cards and other crazy stuff.
And don't forget to check out on Amazon, iTunes, CD Baby, the music of Harmony Constant. That's my band. You'll hear it as the intro and the outro of this. I'm also going to, I got to get recording. I'm doing an original music piece that we can use.
Ooh.
So it'll just be like our theme.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a theme.
Well, we will have a theme. And in the meantime, look for us on Facebook, iTunes, not iTunes, soon it'll be iTunes, but Facebook, Twitter. I'm Mac W. Jackson, and you are...
N.A. Shell with
Right.
a C.
And I remember that. I'm proud of myself.
Well, it's kind of hard to forget. It's my first, middle, and last name.
Yeah, well, sure. But there's when I looked you up, tried to find you on there, there's so many Nathan Shells, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, or at least variations of that name. So I remembered, okay, Nathan Shell. And keep the questions, comments, and artwork coming, and we will see you guys next time.
Yeah, everybody.